Devin has become one of my favorite characters, honestly, in the last like little bit of new Star Wars
Hmm.
content. I love the background, and I think it's because she reminds me of Anakin, and I think that's where it's like I see a lot of correlation with the anger, the stealing the food, like little temptations, wanting to get revenge. Maul's feeding into that, and I see her as more of like a gray, almost maybe a little bit of a darker Ahsoka.
Meddler's Corner! Yeah, tune in, let's go! Dropping into a galaxy far away, talking cosplayers and the roles they play. From the actors to the prop makers' art, every single fan plays a vital part. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life.
Hello, meddlers, and welcome back to our Maul review. Today we're reviewing episodes 7 and 8. I'm here with my good friends, John from Clan Fett and my good buddy, Matt Durham. How are y'all doing today, guys?
Doing good, man. Great day.
So John, you're new to us. I gotta ask, man, what's your take on Maul?
I've catapulted it to the top of my animated Star Wars shows. Season 7 of Clone Wars and Bad Batch still live very heavy in my heart. But the animation and the sound design, the artwork that's going into the show, the character building that we're getting, there's a lot of love that's going on. And I think that's one of the big things. Sorry, I got this neighbor crow that's good popping off right now. And overall, I think the show's been incredible. There hasn't been an episode where I've been like, oh, I wanted more.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted was literally more episode. There wasn't anything where it was cut short or anything like that. And I really like the introduction of a new planet, like a new scenery. We're not going back to somewhere we know. We're getting new characters and we're getting their stories. And that's something that, I like the deviation from the usual Skywalker story in universe. So I've been loving it, man.
So I want to call back to episode 7, where opening scene comes up. I was expecting to see, who Marok was talking to. They totally didn't give it to us. I was like,
no, they didn't.
So part of me is like, are we actually going to get a Maul invader? Matt, I want to get your takes on it. Like, cause I know you and I have been talking, we had a whole bunch of theories about who it is. So what's your take?
I was so waiting for the, to do the flashback, I thought that was going to be like the first scene, they flash back to the previous episode of him kneeling Marok and talking to a hologram. And I was expecting the first scene to just be that again. They did it, but I'm not disappointed as much.
Same.
How it went, although I'm still curious if it was Vader or maybe it was the
Emperor,
Grand Inquisitor.
or Grand
I think it's
Inquisitor.
still one of those two. I don't think it was the Emperor, but yeah, no, I was like, okay, fine,
I guess.
there's gotta be a finale, I guess. So
John, a little bit. So after last week, Matt and I were talking to one of our 501st buddies, and he came up with a theory, and he said that he thinks Marok is talking to Balin. My heart and my 501st character is like, yes, please be talking to Balin, but I think it's too soon. So who do you think Marok's talking to?
Okay, so I am a big Vader stan. That's like my dog. So everything in me, my heart wants it to be Vader. I think a part of me says Grand Inquisitor they give you just that like slight snippet of his leg. So it's like you can't really tell if it's, a cloak, if it's kind of the 10% in me is like the pauldrons that the Grand Inquisitor wears, like his pants kind of stick out a little bit.
Yeah.
So it kind of has a little bit of that, but everything in me, it's like he wouldn't kneel to the Grand Inquisitor. Like he wouldn't, I don't think he'd call him like my lord.
My
like
lord,
that's,
yeah. That was a big thing for me. I was like, and I had to like do a lot of evidence and like finding my way into like, have they ever called the Grand Inquisitor my lord? And I'm like, I don't think they would call the Grand Inquisitor my lord. He's just the top of the echelon in the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah, sir.
I don't Lord. I've never heard Lord for the Grand Inquisitor either.
No, and it's almost like a rank thing. It's like, we see Vader kneels to no one but the Emperor and calls him like my master, my lord. And then it kind of, reciprocates down the line where it's like, I would think he's kneeling to, he's the first brother. Like I would think he's the first one that's been brought into the Inquisition. So hopefully it's like they have that somewhat of a connection of, and I had talked about this on my podcast with Brandon, but I was thinking, what if What if Marok was like a Jedi temple guard, or he was a apprentice to a master that Anakin went and chopped down as Vader? And that's like, he can't train you or can't do what you need to do. I can train you in the ways, bring you back up. But I would love to see some sort of connection and again establish Vader as the cliffhanger for season 1.
So we get to see the fight, between Marok, Maul, and now Crow Inquisitor. And I can't remember if it was you, John, talking about this or if it was another podcast, but I think it was you. It's how Ahsoka took the Crow Inquisitor down super fast. It was clean to the point, and she didn't even have a lightsaber. She was just dodging. But it goes back to what someone said about their training. Maul goes on the attack. He 100% wants to be full front in your face. This is my game, rather than like most Jedi. Okay, I'm going to let you attack first, and I'm going to gather what your moves are. So I wanted to get your take on that fight sequence, because I mean, were we seeing Maul at 100%? I don't think so, because of his leg. But what was your take on that whole duel?
I think a part of it is, the time jump. Like, I think right now we're seeing the Inquisitors as, they're establishing them as, the height of their thing. The Empire only lasts like 20 some years, so it's like it's not a long period of time. And this year after the fall of the Jedi is they're the pinnacle of their strength. They have these Inquisitors rolling out, and I think the difference is, this is a little nerdy, but it's like a little Dragon Ball Z, where it's like Ahsoka at this point has been through so much. Like, she's been through the Clone Wars, she's been through, Anakin as her master, she's fought, almost everybody. So to her, an Inquisitor is whatever. And I think the difference is she's a lot more collected in her ability to fight. And, the difference of her being patient, it's almost like an Obi-Wan thing. It's like she's patient, she's reading the signs, and the Inquisitors are, cocky, overconfident, go on the attack whenever they can. And then the only time they dip out is when they're like, okay, I'm in danger.
100%
But so I don't know. I think I view it as it's like I saw the argument of, Ahsoka being more powerful than Maul. And it's like, I think there's levels to it where it's like,
training, what they've gained from their training. Yeah.
Right. And Ahsoka wasn't fighting 2 Inquisitors at once.
No, absolutely not.
Maul's going off, 2 of them with no support, with a broken leg, and he's still basically handling his business until it, he couldn't.
Yeah. So then after that fight sequence, we get a deep look at Maul's history. Great job to the writing team, because here throughout this whole show, I was like, man, am I really rooting for a bad guy right now? But now I'm like even more on his side. Like, Sidious was awful. What a cruel, cruel man. So, I mean, Matt, you cosplay as Palpatine for the 501st. What was your whole mind process?
Brutal.
What was your thoughts on this?
So, like, I've for Sidious, I know in like making analogies, he's the devil of the Star Wars universe. Like, I'm pretty sure George Lucas has stated that. You kind of could just get that from him anyways. He is the manipulator. The
puppet master. Yeah.
The puppet master, the most evil of the galaxy. I wasn't surprised about the cruelness. I was, and they did this in Ahsoka too, and I really, or not Ahsoka, I'm sorry. They did this in Obi-Wan too, and I really liked it when they did it for Maul as well, where the Sith are still, like, there's always a battle between pre-Sith, Sith. And I really liked it when, especially, I mean, the puddle scene, he's looking down at himself. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is really, and then that difference between, Anakin showing up and being like, I wasn't your failure, and then, Vader coming in with the hate of Obi-Wan and being like, no, I killed him, ha ha ha. And then you see Maul's interaction with himself, and it's like, no, I'm gonna stay Sith because that's who we are now, but this is for you. It just maybe like gave me some chills a little bit, just because
Absolutely.
you now see that side of Maul, which you just mentioned. You're like, okay, I'm kind of rooting for him now. Like, I know he's not going to be able to, but you're like, I kind of hope his plans become, I hope he gets some satisfaction, which we all, spoiler alert, he doesn't. But yeah, like that reflection with himself, I was like, I really like that with the Sith, where they're not all, I mean, they are evil. We'll get that out of the way. They're all evil. but there's always just in the back their
Something
old
else.
self
Yep.
is, always
Trying to reach back.
trying just that whisper. And I just like how Miles was like, no, I hear you, but we're gonna get revenge because this was bull.
Yeah. John, what was your take on all that?
Well, I think that's a great point. One, in the aspect of, we immediately see Maul's replacement in Dooku, and he wasn't a Sith. Like, he didn't go like yellow-eyed, get angry, chop people up. Like, he was probably one of the more reserved. So it's like, we see the replacement come in, and Sidious is like sitting there seeing Anakin, like, okay, Dooku's not going to cut it. But him getting angry, looking at the reflection and using the dark side to basically get himself up. And then as he's doing that, the reflection changes from younger him to, what him now, looking at the reflection. It was like you said, dude, I got chills talking about it, but it's
So
like,
good.
am I getting tears watching a Maul story, a backstory? Like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
So
God,
that leads to my next question is Maul still a Sith? Or is he still claiming that side of I'm a Sith? I want to get y'all's take on that. I want to say yes because of that. He's drawing to anger, but are we still classifying him as a Sith?
I want to say yes, and mostly yes. I still think, again, yeah, he's pulling on emotions. He's doing everything. I mean, it's like, yes, he's doing the opposite of what a Jedi would be trained to do, which in their eyes would classify him as Sith. But we're getting a little bit of a muddled gray area, I think, a little bit with it's like where it kind of goes back to how Dooku was using the Sith to accomplish his goals.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's not necessarily bad. In his case, it's revenge,
Right.
which is the echoing
ideologies of the Sith,
yeah, and the
fear.
echoing theme of Maul, revenge. I will avenge you. This is all because what happened to me. Dooku, it's, well, I don't want this to happen to others, but it didn't happen to me. But yeah, I think there's like this weird gray area with Maul now where it's like, yeah, you're still pretty bad. I would still say you're Sith.
You're not a good dude.
You're not a good dude, but I mean, we'll cut you some slack.
If you stay in your lane, I'm not going to cut you off.
Yeah, dude, worry about your house, dog.
Right, yeah.
Well, good point. So then we get Maul jumping from the cliff, and right before that, he saw one of his brethren, one of his Dathomirian brethren, get killed by the Crow Inquisitor. What an incredible scene! I really enjoyed how powerful of a duo when you put two Inquisitors together. It's like you don't know where the next move comes, because like I wasn't expecting that. I was like, whoa, what? Because here he is with that machine gun just laying ham down on all these stormtroopers, and then boom, he gone.
Marok just creeping in the background, just watching.
Spooky, man. I can tell you.
Sorry, can we talk about when he jumps off the cliff and does the spin and
Yes,
does
I wanted to get to that. The total Sidious move.
I out loud was like, woo, some training.
That looks oddly familiar.
I was so it must have been, Sam's voice doing the scream, but when he did it, I was just like, I know where that's from. I know where you learned that.
Well, also, before that whole cliff scene took place, we saw Devin and Maul, getting on with a little bit of a fight combo there. I mean, earlier in this season, we were predicting that, we're seeing Devin going dark side. But right now, I'm going, I don't know, because she's still toying that line of no, he's evil, he's bad. So I want to get y'all's take. John, I'll start with you. What do you think? Is Devin going dark side, or is she staying with Jedi?
So Devin has become one of my favorite characters, honestly, in the last little bit of new Star Wars content. I love the background, and I think it's because she reminds me of Anakin, and I think that's where it's like I see a lot of correlation with the anger, the stealing the food, like the little temptations, wanting to get revenge. Maul's feeding into that, and I see her as more of like a gray, almost maybe a little bit of a darker Ahsoka, where it's I could see her flirting with Maul, or not with Maul, but flirting with the dark side, training with Maul, doing what she needs to do, but I don't think she'll fully commit to a dark side path. Like, she still has that love for her master. I think that still plays a role in her training, and she's hesitant to. I feel like she's hesitant to harm people that aren't the Empire. Where Maul is like, if you're not with me, you're my enemy. So
And also too, like playing alongside with that, it's like when Master Docky and Devin were conversating, and Lawson had just realized or had gotten the news that Riley was kidnapped. Master Docky immediately was like, "We need to leave. We need to abandon." I'm like,
yeah,
is that really the Jedi way? I'm like,
yeah,
I get that you're on the run and Order 66 is going down right now, but I'm like, dude, but it just calls back to like, again, would they have done that? Would the Jedi have done that without Order 66? But it's still like, he just said it like, boom, really quick, like, hey, if we leave, they will show leniency. But it also, too, for me, it shows that really the Jedi were just misconstrued in their own ways. Or I want to get y'all's take. Do y'all think the Jedi were misconstrued, and is that what led them to their downfall? Some say ego got in the way. I want to get y'all's take on this.
So for the Devin, to answer the Devin question first, I think she's going to stay right in the middle and kind of bounce back and forth. And then there's going to be one event that's going to push her to either abandon her values and adopt a more extreme for more towards the dark side. I think that's where she's heading. For the Jedi, I think they were way too overconfident in their abilities and thought back before pre-Order 66 that, they were the pinnacle of society, nothing can touch us. And then the Clone Wars started happening. They're like, okay, some things are a little more out of our control, but we're still at the top. And then Order 66 happened, and it just mentally destroyed all of them. It destroyed Obi-Wan. It destroyed Yoda. It destroyed Ahsoka. It destroyed Master Docky, I think, which is why so quickly he was like, no, let's go. We got to go. We got to get out of here now, because it was so burned into their psyche that like, we're powerless. Like, there's nothing we can do anymore. Like that. I think it was post PTSD he got from that.
John, what's your take? Jedi, or is it just like that's just what he does?
I think it's a combination of things where it's like, let me preface, I hate the character Barriss. All the homies hate Barriss. But she made a good point when it's like the Jedi lost their values. They lost their ways. It's like she preaches that in that scene of the Clone Wars to Sidious, who's smiling, laughing because he knows it's true. And it's like we get to the season 7 of Clone Wars, and Mace is like, we have thousands of Jedi spread across everywhere. It's like, so instead of fighting the Sith like they were back in the day, they're fighting the Separatists. And it's like, okay, well now we're not fighting that quote unquote holy war type vibe against the other enemy. And then we get to, the council, and it's like the council, you look at that picture and all of them are either dead or exiled or as Vader, all because they didn't put Anakin on the council.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like everything, all because, they let go of Ahsoka from the council. Like everything, there's so many things that could have been avoided where they just brushed it off as, oh, it was a trial from the Force, or it was a lesson or something. It was like, no, dude, these are serious problems that are being told to you guys. Anakin's talking to you about death, and Yoda's like, nah, just be stronger mentally.
Yeah.
So,
but it's that same way. It's here in our daily lives, we hear that all the time. It's like, we're going through stuff emotionally and we hear it. There's other people out there that tell us like, oh, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Go on.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah,
take a lap.
You're good. And then, I'll still say it to this day, Mace Windu was a complete liability to the Jedi Order.
Oh, read the room, dog, every time.
That's a separate episode. The flaws of the Jedi Council should have gone into that.
So, I want to talk about that chase scene. I loved that music. Talk about, I was vibing. I was like, yeah, we're going. I was just completely bumping. My wife was laughing at me. And I was like, this is so cool. What a cool little chase scene. Yes, I know that this series is dark in its own way, but they also gave us that little kid vibe, and I absolutely love that for any animation that we get with Star Wars. I thought that was absolutely incredible. The silence where they're going off the bridge, no music, no sound, no nothing. I think that's I think that's totally epic with the score and the writing that they do. Man, great job to this whole team. They're giving us absolutely a banger of a show. And I was expecting, like, in typical Star Wars, when we get these long episodes, or I wouldn't say they're not very long episodes, but we get a drawn out series, there's always that one show that it's like, we have to just throw this in, fill in the gaps, fill in some story time. And it doesn't hit with a lot of the audience. But this entire series has been absolutely just 0 to 100 all the
Yeah,
way.
not feeling that at all. Like, I suspect, like, the last 2 episodes were supposed to be, like, well, maybe not the fight, but his reflection and him walking through the dust storm and, his fog of press. I think that was, like, the filler episode, and even then, we're all
We were
like,
all like, we want more. Tell us, give us more. Like my
"No,
heart was
we're."
just completely
Yeah,
broken. I was like,
so,
oh my God.
yeah.
And I got serious like Tokyo Drift vibes with the chase scene.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like she's like she walks and I again Devin she walks up to the thugs that are out there and she's like I gotta like beat these dudes up and then like
Yep.
ta- takes their whip and then gets and then yeah so it was like the music that was going on same thing it was like okay like we're in it man.
Total fun scene. Total fun scene. So, theory time. I want to talk about some theories where we're going for 9 and 10. It's coming out on May 4th. Sam Witwer told the entire crowd at Star Wars Night at Disney
Oh,
that
yeah.
you have no idea what you're expecting. Y'all think you may have this notion, but y'all really don't. So I want to get John, I want to start with you. Where do you think we're going? What's going to play out towards the end?
So we get the 2 episodes. We know we have a meeting with the Syndicate coming up. So like we know Maul will get some type of backing, some type of support where he'll take over. Maybe see. I don't know if Kira is involved at that point yet, but maybe we see her as a cameo.
Mhm.
Maybe Hux or anyways. But dude, I would love to see Vader come in and just a few of I think I've heard the theory, but like maybe he comes in, kills Marok off the rip. Like you failed. Like the Inquisitor that's been a real problem to everyone else in the show gets waxed immediately. Same with Docky. It's like I think Docky is on the way out, and that will be that tipping point that Matt was talking about for Devin. And it's like we're fighting. She sees her master make that sacrifice, and it's like, okay, light side gone. Like I want revenge. But again, if I could see Vader come in and kind of this is Maul fans will be mad, but like I would love to see Vader be year one Vader, like a year from losing to Obi-Wan, like just got his his suit,
Mhm.
his everything together. This dude
Yes.
is upset, wanting to prove a point. Maybe we get it, maybe he just walks out when that's the cliffhanger, and it's like now I gotta wait for season
Season
two to
2.
see it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm gonna agree. I think the last episode will be va let's see, does he I don't think he won't have his own ship, but maybe it's another one of those, post like, in between Empire and clones of that ship and, it comes down and it's him. Or if they were gonna be really mean about it, they'll be talking to someone again, behind
You
or
just
like a
hear the
hologram
breath.
scene,
That's all.
and you'll
yep,
hear the breath. That's
yep,
what I bet,
credits.
and that's what I think they're gonna do. That's what I think, they're gonna be like, we can't get him, my lord," or maybe you might send another Inquisitor, blah, 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 or something, and you're just
Mhm.
gonna hear he'll say something, I don't know, and then,
I'll
yeah.
do it myself.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
doing I'm on
Total
or
Thanos.
I'd cry.
yeah.
Get the glove.
That's what I bet, and I do think as well, I'm gonna agree with you, John. I think I don't know if both are gonna happen of, like, either one of the Inquisitors either Marok gets cut down or Master Daki gets, chopped. I don't know if it's gonna be both, but I think it's gonna be one of them, like you said.
Mhm.
One of those is gonna happen, I think, at
Okay.
least
Well,
in
and
the
we know
episode.
Marok gets axed. So like we see it in Ahsoka.
Yep.
He's the Dathomir's spirit. So like theory time, like we've been talking that it's like we would love to see him get killed and then Maul take him to Dathomir. It's like, oh, this guy
And
was good, dude. He's
then we get
proven
the
his
Morgan
worth. Like,
Elspeth.
yeah, it's like we bring him to Dathomir, juice him up with whatever Dathomir magic we get. He goes to work with Morgan, and then
Yeah.
reappears in Ahsoka, and that's why he kind of looks not. Everyone was like, "Oh, he looked lame in Ahsoka." It's like, well, yeah, he's a ghost, so like,
Yeah, he's
you
It's
know,
not him, and
zombified.
yeah,
we're saying like the cooler. I think I saw someone else in a short or something say like we didn't really get to see Crow or Merrick in their prime in those few episodes we saw in Ahsoka, or at least in Tales of the
Tales of the Jedi.
Jedi.
Yeah.
hmm
Is it
Yeah.
Jedi? So
Yes.
Crow, Tales of the Jedi, boo, cool look,
Cool look.
died. Merrick in Ahsoka,
cool, but
cool again, but I was like, I wish it better. And Maul, and now Maul is giving us like, well,
These dudes were legit.
there was a reason why they were in. Yeah. So, well, shoot, we've been getting so many like little nods to Dathomirian magic. Maybe the mother comes back, or maybe, yeah, what you were saying, Donovan. Maybe Morgan shows up.
Yeah. So that's been my theory from the whole time. And, we talked about it, that maybe, and John, you even mentioned it, that something's going to be the turning point for Devin. So my thinking is, and how it's all going to play out, I think Maul is going to be the one that cuts down Parag. There's going to be another epic battle. I mean, we still get to see the scene because it was teased that he just throws his lightsaber and cuts down that ATST, like total.
Oh, in half.
Total badass move. And then
a lightsaber doing a lightsaber thing.
Yeah. And then so Marak is now gone. I think, because it got renewed for season 2, I think they're gonna give us just Darth Vader's breath of the total Thanos, like, hey, I'm gonna do it myself. I don't want that.
None of us want it, but we all know
Please
it's
don't.
gonna
I mean, like, it's May the 4th. Just give the fans what they want. So I feel like we might get an epic duel. I think Master Daki, I think this is his only season. He's going to get cut down. But I don't know if that's going to be the complete turning point for Devin. I think Maul's going to still, because he still has, it's like, yes, he hates Sidious. And we saw that within that vision, that he absolutely hates that man. And he wants nothing more than to see him gone and dead. I think, though, Maul's going to play into what Sidious did to him and completely groom Devin to join him. That's what we're probably going to get in season 2, is my thinking. It's because now she's like, where do I go? I lost my family, so I feel like that's going to be her only choice, is to go with him to feel a sense of safety and still be on the hiding from Order 66. But I'm hoping that we get that epic Vader Maul duel, because I want to know why Maul is so terrified of Vader. Why is he so, like, we see it in Rebels, he's like, nope, bye, deuces.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I want to know that. And I feel like they're going to give it to us. And there was also even Will from Will of the Force. Back last summer, he had a sit down with Sam Witwer, and he asked him the question, how do you think Maul would react if he went into the cave on Dagobah? And Sam immediately was like, that's not good. I mean, I think we got a glimpse of that because of his visions and how traumatic those events were, that of what Sidious did to him. But I mean, I totally agree now, seeing that, like, yeah, it would not be good if Maul went into Dagobah, because I think we would totally get a psychotic, deranged Maul that just comes out and just starts unleashing absolute havoc on anyone and everyone. Would that make for a good season? Absolutely. I think that would be really cool.
Do we want to see it? Yes.
Yes. But I don't know what that turning point would be, because now that you say that, John, I think, yeah, I can agree with that. There's going to be some turning point, but I just don't know what that turning point is. I think she's going to join up with Maul so that she has some sense of safety. That's my thinking.
When I can see it as like what happens, Lawson has the bounty hunter background. Like, they're going to be on the run from the Empire. So it's like, I could almost see them being like a cheesy, like, hey, we escaped together, where it's like, Maul, Rook, maybe a few of the Mandalorians just get out of there, and then, like, they're escaping with that group, and that's your video game team, like, everyone skedaddles together, where it's like not best interest aligned, but I want to survive, so we're skedaddling.
So I've said it in every episode, Maul has done an absolute job to give us hallway scenes. We didn't get a lightsaber hallway scene, but 2 boots, he got his hallway scene.
Damn, 2 boots in his redemption.
Yeah, his redemption arc. Yeah,
dude, the last 2 episodes, I was like, 2 boots, you are not helping your case, man. You are not helping your case. And then all of a sudden, he redeems himself. I'm like, oh, man.
He had us in the first half, man. I was pretty upset.
I was kind of concerned. But
yeah,
dude, and then he just tosses away the stormtrooper pistol and just carries his own little pistol. He's like, nah, this is uncivilized.
You knew something turned whenever the lieutenant, was it right? Lieutenant that comes in from the Empire?
Yeah, Lieutenant Blake.
Yeah, whenever he was, take those boots off. That's when 2 boots was like,
I'm not playing on the same team anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I like you anymore. Yeah.
You looked him up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, John, I want to thank you so much for joining our review. It's been absolutely a pleasure having you on. I do ask this of most of my guests, so I'm going to ask it of you. If we were to open your garage, what vehicle would we find from the Star Wars universe? It could be streetwise, it could be planet to planet. What would we find?
Luthen's Fondor Hallcraft, dude.
Yeah.
And I got an alt build, dude, real quick. But one of my
Sick.
favorite like most unique ships that I've seen. Super random, but it's like I loved its capabilities. I loved Andor as a whole. That would be it, man.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one yet.
That's because you need to watch Andor, Matt.
N- not because of Andor, but your guests. Everyone you've asked, I have not heard that one yet. It's
It's
been
cool, man.
Dude,
that's a good one.
I'm telling you, John, you need to tune in for our next episodes. It's going to be completely Matt finally watches Andor, the C-SPAN version of Star Wars.
I'll be there, dude. You put it on. I'll be in the chat hyping you guys up, man.
All right. So you want to hype up your podcast? I know you and Brandon got some really cool things going on. You want to discuss what's going on?
Yeah. Well, so every Sunday we do a Clan Fett. We go live at 9 or 11 a.m. Central. And so we basically just talk about different things going on, whether that be in Star Wars, Lego, anything kind of popping up. Right now it's been a lot of Maul, Mando movie coming out.
Mhm.
And then one of the bigger, I would say not bigger, but the things that we're working on is we've kind of partnered with the Saber Company. And so we've been doing a lot of giveaways and things like that. And
Oh.
tonight, for example, we do basically mystery saber spins. So we've had people win $500, $600 sabers for $100. So it's cool when you get something and someone's like, I've never won before. So it's cool doing that. And then if you guys can let me know about that, some of that 501st stuff, I'd be heavily interested.
Absolutely. We'll chat a little bit off camera.
I love it, man.
All right.
I truly appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great day, Meddlers. Tune in next time.
Meddler's Corner! Yeah, tune in, let's go! Dropping into a galaxy far away, talking cosplayers and the roles they play. From the actors to the prop makers' art, every single fan plays a vital part. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life. We hit the movies and the latest shows, the biggest fan cast everybody knows. Step into the corner, let the force ignite. Meddler's Corner, bringing Star Wars to life.